This is ESPN ESPORTS. I'm Arda Ocal. G2 has had one of the greatest seasons in League of Legends history. A grand slam is what awaits them if they are able to claim the League of Legends World Championship. They have made it all the way to the finals, even defeating Faker and SKT in the process. However, standing in their way on the precipice of history is China's greatest team, Funplus Phoenix. And we welcome in our ESPN Esports insider, Jacob Wolf, to break it all down. So, Spring, Summer, MSI, World Championship, G2 on the precipice of a first ever Grand Slam. Can they do it?
Yes. I think that they are better than Funplus Phoenix. And I think that generally, G2 has had an incredible year this year, and it came on the back of a risk, right? Free agency last year. They moved Perks to AD carry. He was okay with that, and then they signed Caps, who was his rival mid laner in Europe, and it was seen at the time as very risky. Some people thought it was a little bit of a joke, and clearly it was not. It's G2 has had a record banner year for any Western team, and really any team ever, as you mentioned. And I think that they do have the opportunity to do this. I do think they will. That is my official prediction.
Perks, actually, Chinese fans of League of Legends are nicknamed him PZI in honor of Uzi there, based on his play at Worlds here. So let's talk about how both teams got here. G2 defeated T1 in the final before the final. It smashed viewership records. It really lived up to expectations. But what was interesting, Jacob, was that G2, pretty much in every single game, despite the fact that they won the series, they were behind at some point in each of those matches.
Yeah, it shows that they're very cohesive and that they play to the mid and the late game in this situation. You know, like some teams, if they don't win early, they don't win at all. You know, they struggle to kind of keep it together when they move on. G2 is not one of those. G2 seems very sort of put together, and they stick together, and they play through team fights, and they make smart decisions. And they beat SKT 3-1. I mean, that's a nice handed victory, right? And this is an SKT who kind of went through a little bit of a crisis rebuild last year and really made this work, right? Like, they've had a couple of rough years here, and I think that it was super important that SKT show out, and they did. Let's not take it away. They made it to the semifinals. They played very, very well in groups, and they made it this far. G2 actually didn't play as well in groups, and this is why they got this side of the bracket. So. But G2 seems like when it matters, they come in clutch, and I think that's what separates them. They have a high level of commitment here in their culture, and I think that they are a very special team indeed.
G2, of course, dominated our ESPN Esports Power Rankings all summer long, first position the entire way through, except for 1 week, when it was occupied by the other side of this equation, Funplus Phoenix, who defeated the reigning champions, Invictus Gaming, en route to get here. Give us a little bit of a lowdown on FPX and their chances in the final.
I did not actually predict this. I predicted that Invictus would win that side of the bracket. I think generally that both these teams have been back and forth in China, as you mentioned, and Invictus had their World Championship year last year. Funplus kind of became the team this year. Funplus is a pretty well-known entity, I think, if you look at some of their players, at least individually. But as a team, they're kind of they're hard to put together. It's hard to make of what they are, right? And so I think that's why a lot of people predicted Invictus, because you know what Invictus is at this point. You don't necessarily know what Funplus is as a team. You know that they have very individually talented players, some who have really been a big part of the Chinese League of Legends ecosystem for a very, very long time. But I think that Invictus kind of faltered here, but I also think that Funplus has earned this. I think that heading into this weekend, G2 is still the better team, and I would again predict that G2 would win. But I think that it will be a really fun series, and I could see this, G2 SKT broke Western viewership records, over 500,000 concurrents on Twitch, if I am correct, and looking at that alone, I think the number was like 2.3 million across Western audiences across YouTube. It's somewhere in there. It's a pretty large number, the official number. But I actually think if we're looking at total viewership in general, this is a really good final, because I think a lot of North American fans like to watch G2 Esports, even though they are a European team and all the North American teams went home. It's interesting. And then you look at Funplus, they're they're a Chinese team, and historically when a Chinese team is in the final, the number is massive because Chinese fans wake up and watch it. So, I think that this will be a giant final for League of Legends because you have a team that everybody likes to watch on the Western Hemisphere, and you have a Chinese team in the final on the other side. So I think this is going to be a really big weekend for League of Legends.
Yeah, lots of intriguing storylines going into this one, including the two individuals at mid lane. It's Doinb for FPX and Caps for G2. Doinb was asked after the semifinal, which team would you rather face in the finals? And he said, I would rather face G2. I'm paraphrasing. I would rather face G2 because they play more our style, and also there's a larger champion pool there. I really feel like we might get some really off-the-wall picks, and Caps echoed this in his comments in his press conference as well. We might get some off-the-wall picks, some crazy plays, just their play styles, very aggressive as well.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, we may also get some off-the-wall bans. We may see a ban that comes in and we go, why the heck are they banning that? And then it will be something that someone's played in a scrim that got leaked, or somebody's played in solo queue that they think they're going to pull out. This is, both teams, I think, are historically, they're very flexible, so I am excited about that final. I think that, looking at the G2 side of things, I mean, they have someone who, like, Perks played Yasuo this weekend, which is not off meta by any means, but, like, he was a mid laner. He has a lot of comfort on that champion, and so just throw it in the bot lane. And you can flex that too. If you want to put that Yasuo mid, which is that's not particularly meta, but if you want to put that Yasuo mid, you can, and then pick something later. I think that it's hard to ban anyone out in this series. That's my thing, right? It's hard. I think that every single player on all 10 of them across the board play enough diverse champions that banning someone out is going to be really difficult. Perks, despite having done the role swap, has really picked up on a lot of different AD carry champions, and so I think that this matchup is going to be really fun to watch because we may see some crazy things. We may see some crazy bans. We may see some crazy picks. But there's a significant amount of flexibility here on all sides. And I think this is one of the best finals we could have gotten, even if it's the one I didn't predict.
Let us know in the comments below. Give us your prediction. What will be the final score, and which team will be champions when it is all said and done? Of course, while you're at it, please subscribe and ring that bell so you get notifications every time videos like these drop. Announcement, in case you haven't seen it on Twitter, we're going to do a free agency show. This guy, center stage, we're going to throw him into a cubicle. He's going to have his phone and his laptop, and we're just going to have a wolf howl every time a signing is made, because our show is going to be live when free agency begins. Give us the deets.
Yes, it will be. We will be broadcasting live on November the 18th at 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern Time. That is 30 minutes before the open of free agency, which is midnight UTC.
And the important thing here is that it will be live streamed on Twitch. That's right. Twitch.tv/ESPN ESPorts. Subscribe to that channel and also ring the bell there for notifications, because you will want to know when this show goes live. November 18th, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 3:30 p.m. Pacific Time, in a cubicle with all of his sources. Awoo! Wolf howl every time news drops live. That's how we do it. Continued coverage available at ESPN.com/esports.